Time now for our Rants and Raves. I think we've been doing a lot of that. Rants and Raves of the week, starting with Dan Kennedy.
I will keep right on ranting here. I have a rant for Joe Ricketts, who was the CEO and owner of a number of local news sites, including DNA Info and the Gothamist in New York, but also sites in Chicago, San Francisco, and Washington. Last week, his staff voted to unionize, and although Mr. Ricketts did not say that this was the reason, he turned around and shut them all down.
Ridiculous.
It's absolutely crazy. And although he didn't say that was the reason, he had recently written some anti-union screed for his blog. This is really just pretty shocking, and I should note that Mr. Ricketts is a billionaire, so he could, I don't know that he had quite figured out the business model for these sites yet, but he certainly had the
employees should take them over.
To keep it. They should take it over, and I hope they do. The other thing is, he kind of took down all the content,
right.
although now he says it will be restored, and a lot of this had been captured by archive.org anyway, but...
Joanna.
So I have a rave. It's a rave for live television in the form of the World Series between the Astros and the Dodgers. Just ended the other night. At a time of cord cutting and people going to Netflix only, it is nice to have a reminder that even if you don't want to watch the news anymore, there's still a value and a function for live TV and the collective TV experience. 22.22 million viewers watched Game 7 of the World Series. That was the third largest World Baseball broadcast of the past 13 years. Second one was last year's Game 7 when the Cubs won. Any guess on what the first one was?
Red Sox.
Red Sox 2004, Game 4, when they broke the curse. So live TV, there's still that feeling of live TV. Now you can do it with Twitter, and it's even more fun. But there is something to be said for just still tuning in and joining everybody else.
How many were watching after 11?
How many
I was.
A lot of people were. I had to get up at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, boo-hoo.
I agree with you, but at the same time, baseball has to figure out a way to get a 9-inning game over in 2.5 hours.
I have some suggestions on that. All right. Callie.
Okay, well, I have a rave for Rebecca Traister. People may know her work from New York Magazine. This is a piece from The Cut, and the headline says it all. Our national narratives are being shaped by lecherous, powerful men. And she makes the point that as we listen to all the stories of the women coming out, the thing to pay attention to is that all of these lecherous men shape the narrative of what will be in all of our media readings. So at every point, there are these guys sitting there who obviously had many other things on their mind other than thinking about the editorial, who are in power making these decisions. And she said, it's great that the women are coming out now, but she said it's too late to think about, for example, that what was the narrative written about a Hillary Clinton in the hands of somebody who is, got something else on his mind. So, and her husband, she mentions that as well.
Harvey Weinstein was broken by 2 female reporters and a female editor.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Yeah, that's a good
so
point.
This is really, it's pretty intense to think about. Yeah.
Well, a lot of the narrative is still shaped by those guys.
Well, she says it's going to continue going because there's a lot of stuff that's not.
I'm not accusing any of the current ones of sexual harassment.
Exactly.
All right.
All right, I have a rant for GFR Media. They are the parent company of the 2 most important Spanish-speaking newspapers, Spanish-language newspapers in Puerto Rico. They were a lifeline for people for so long, teaching people how to apply for a FEMA aid, where they would, when they could expect water back on, medical assistance. They cut their journalistic staff by 50%.
Why?
They said that, the hurricanes made their revenue go down, even though the salaries are, totally covered by their insurance. And even though they were bragging on Facebook that they managed to maintain almost pre-hurricane circulation levels, they now see this as an opportunity
so their printing presses must not have been damaged.
I guess not. But a lot of people were seeing it as a real lifeline, and now the reporters down there are really upset. And, of course, it could be a hidden union dispute.
Yeah.
It could be. Not to defend them, but many of their advertisers may have been blown out to sea.
Right.
All right, well, I have a rave tonight for Daniel Drabick. He's a Harvard graduate student who wrote this great piece for the Harvard Crimson. He's talking about Sean Spicer And Sean Spicer was allowed 6 or 7 speaking engagements. I don't know what you call them, informal, student interactions. They were all private, all off the record, by invitation only.
Oh, wow.
And this comes on the heels, of throwing Chelsea Manning off the docket.
Right.
She was invited to speak. Meanwhile, Harvard Kennedy School Dean Douglas Elmendorf said at the time, when they were hiring Sean Spicer to come, we do not shy away from controversy. We insist the speakers take questions.
Yeah. Right.
And then he just went completely contrary to what he said he would do. Now they've got Corey Lewandowski, formerly of the Trump campaign, coming in a few weeks, I believe, and we'll see if he gets the same thing. This is what Dan Drabick was saying. Are we going to be giving him the same, privacy, shuttling him around from door to door so nobody can get, and no one can
and both of
reach
them have been named fellows. That's the, it's not just coming for individual conversations.
Yeah.
They're under the umbrella of the
John
fellowship.
Spicer was a fellow?
John Spicer is a fellow.
An IOP
And
fellow.
so
an
is Corey
honorary
Lewandowski.
position.
That was the first issue.
that's
It's an
shocking.
Institute
Yeah.
of Politics
Yeah.
thing. So, yes.
No, but just the idea that they're not having access, the students don't even have access to them, I think is mind-boggling.
Yeah.